India has just got a new parliament building. You may think that it is all done now, but no, for India and Indians, it is just the beginning. If India makes the right decisions for India's enemies and for the colonial criminal states, India's old parliament building can be the beginning of their end.
So who looted India's wealth? Radical Christian colonial criminals, radical Mughal invaders, and of course, many others. And how about Europe? The British, Portuguese, French, Dutch, the Twin Kingdom of Denmark, Norway, and others. You may have heard that Britain stole $45 trillion from India, right? But have you also heard about the Dutch who attacked Guruvayur in Kerala, plundered the treasures of this significant Hindu temple and looted its gold? If you haven't heard about it until now, then ask yourself, why not? Why does the global community lack knowledge about all these crimes? And by the way, are you still surprised? Are you still daydreaming that a day will come when the world's biggest colonial criminals will honestly reveal all the crimes they committed against humanity? Why would they? Don't you understand this? So who should reveal or expose their crimes? Their victims will, and their victims should. And who is one of the biggest victims of the European Christian colonial criminals? Well, the answer is India. Now please tell me, can there be a better place than India's old parliament building to showcase or reveal the crimes committed by the European Christian colonial criminals? What a strong message against colonization that would be. See how the Holocaust Memorial Museum was built. Yes, India can also build something along those lines within the old parliament building. And in that memorial museum, the world will learn how the European colonial criminals raped, subjugated and looted India while enslaving, exploiting and massacring her people. Through that memorial museum, the world will learn more about the global conquest-seeking invasive religions that have caused forced Christianization and Islamization and the cultural genocide of India's indigenous, native and Dharmic cultures. From the brutal Islamization of Kashmir and the Goa Inquisition to the British-engineered famines that killed millions of innocents, there are lots of tears and pain in the story of Bharat. As seen here, British colonial policies resulted in 165 million deaths in India between 1880 and 1920. It is a massive figure that is larger than the combined number of deaths from both world wars, including the Nazi Holocaust. Yes, the deaths of 165 million Indians in 40 years. Or, in other words, British colonial policies in India claimed more lives than all famines in the Soviet Union, Maoist China and North Korea combined. Yes, don't you think that those 165 million Bharatiya souls deserve a memorial that honors them? The name of the memorial museum could be the Temple of Decolonization. And it will sit right next to India's new parliament building, which has been described as the Temple of Democracy. Sounds amazing, right? But will this dream ever come true? Point 2. In that memorial museum, there can also be a dedicated gallery where all the artifacts that have been stolen by the European colonial criminals can be placed after they are brought back. And until they are brought back, their pictures, details and the name of the thief or the colonial criminal state, as well as the stolen artifacts' present location, can be listed. Yes, the treasures and artifacts looted from India are still being monetized or displayed in European museums, and India can make attempts to bring them back. As a prominent voice of the Global South and as an emerging superpower, India can also provide free advocacy groups and diplomatic efforts to bring back the stolen artifacts and treasures of other countries that were formerly colonized. Point 3. In that memorial museum, India can arrange organized tours or visits for students, academics, Republic Day chief guests, media personalities, and of course, special tours for the royal thieves from the European colonial criminal states. This will go a long way towards sending a strong message against colonization. Colonization still hasn't ended in many parts of the world, and as the voice of the Global South, we expect this from India. And by the way, Tucker Carlson can also be invited to that memorial museum. Of course, from Mumbai's train station to the old parliament building that was designed as the council house, it was India's money, India's land and the blood and sweat of Indian workers that built or contributed to these colonial era structures. And that is why converting a part of the old Parliament landmark building to a memorial museum featuring the atrocities that India faced can potentially neutralize the negativity of all the colonial-era buildings in India and the supremacy of the former colonizers. After all, the story of Bharat's looting, subjugation and colonization has to be told right in the heart of India's capital. And in case you are wondering why all this is required, pay attention to this. This is required because as a global community, we need to remember our history and the biggest crimes against humanity. By doing so, we can try to make sure that similar crimes are never repeated again. And it is even more important because colonization by the European colonial criminals, European expansionism and Christianization are still going on around the world through more deceitful, indirect and advanced methods. Back in India, netizens are coming up with all sorts of ideas regarding the use of the old Parliament building. Some are suggesting that India should demolish the building, and some have even suggested building a free psychiatric hospital for the British to heal their minds and help them get rid of their colonial attitude. Anyway, the old Parliament building is India's asset, and only Indians will decide what they want to do with it. But just in case, if you are a victim of the colonial criminal state's deceitful propaganda about the British aid for India or the colonial-era rail infrastructure and buildings in India, please watch this. Because this video can help you understand that it was not Britain who developed India, it was India who developed Britain. See you again